The only consistency in college athletics is change, and nowhere is that more apparent than on a jobs board. How often have we scrolled through a job description thinking, this sounds so intriguing, but what does this position really entail? We're excited to sit down with senior leaders from across the country to get more color and context on their openings. What's it like to live in that marketplace? Is it a great place to raise a family? What's the vibe on campus? What else is there to do in my spare time? This and more from D1 Ticker. We're joined by Washington State Deputy AD for the Cougar Athletic Fund, Mitch Straub, to talk about the open Director of Development role with the Cougars. Thanks for joining us, Mitch.
Stephanie, thank you for having us.
So this hire is going to play a variety of roles for you within the Cougar Athletic Fund. There's in the description things about annual giving, major gifts, planned gifts. What are some of the qualities that you're looking for as you look to add members to your team?
Sure, great question. Frankly, we're looking for two things. One, adaptability, and two, drive. The day and age of being a specialist, we believe, are gone. Now it's all about being a generalist. You're going to have a role from the event perspective. You're going to have a role, to your point, from the annual giving, but really we're looking for the big growth from the major gift side of things. So from an event standpoint, we really use that to prospect, to identify new leads for us. So we do events before every home football game. We go on a circuit in our three biggest markets. But really what we're looking for is 2 to 3 folks from each of those events that really move the needle for us. We're finishing up 2 projects with an indoor practice facility in a Champions complex. And as we look to kind of the next picture, a basketball arena that we think, frankly, can set both programs up for long-term success. So if we get some adaptability and if we get some drive, we feel like we can accomplish a lot here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about momentum and drive, because recently Washington State had its highest fundraising week ever, raising $3.5 million. Tell us a little bit of, maybe not trade secrets, but give us a little insight into kind of how you guys capitalize on those moments and on these big picture projects.
Yeah, great question. So momentum's a little bit like building a snowman, right? As soon as you start rolling the snowball, it just continues to grow and grow and grow. And when Pat and I originally got here, we didn't have a big track record of success. We had only had 7 7-figure gifts in our history. But as soon as you get the first gift, now someone wants to join the fold. And so in the past 2 years, we've ended up having 10 7-figure gifts. We grew from 14 6-figure gifts, and now we had 52 the past year alone. So again, getting a little bit of success, I think, can frankly build a lot of momentum. So we're looking for a teammate that continues to see that energy, that has that competitive streak, that looks around the table and goes, hey, I want to be the next one to add to our fold.
So in the job description, it states a goal for this position to raise between 100 and 250K annually. It also talks about travel within the state of Washington. Can you give us a little more insight behind the scenes of what the life of a development officer looks like?
Yeah. So when we originally got to Washington State, about 92% of our donor dollars came from inside the state of Washington. So I remember when I was starting out at Ohio State, Gene always said that our biggest fishes are going to be inside Ohio Stadium. And I think that holds true with us. We have a great fan base that loves going to Giesa Field, that loves going to football games, that loves showing up for volleyball, soccer, whatever the heck it is. And so we really focused on those areas. What we didn't necessarily spend a lot of time was, though, on what are the identification tools or what are the prospects that are waving their hand saying, hey, I'm interested. I may be buying single game tickets. I may be getting them in the resale market. Now, frankly, with mobile tickets, we've seen our database of 100,000 ticket accounts grow by 40% because now we have the data to see who the tickets got transferred to. So we got a bunch of new leads that we think that we can track down and convert to Cougar Athletic Fund donors and potentially grow that pipeline into major gifts. So that's a little bit of the lay of the land. If we can focus on some of those new folks, I think that we can find a lot of success with this position.
So when you were hired into this role, you were the youngest deputy AD in all of Power 5. What kind of culture have you been striving to instill among the Cougar Athletic Fund team. And, where can Washington State go from here?
Yeah, I think everyone is a product of past experiences. And so if you look at the reason that a millennial takes a job, the top three reasons are, do they believe in the mission of the organization, or what is leadership articulating as the vision of the organization? Two, what's your role with your supervisor? And then third's monetary. And if resources are finite, frankly, the third one you may not have a ton of control over, but the first two, you better be really locked in on. And so from the leadership perspective, we have a president here that has been the chair of the NCAA Board of Governors. He's on the CFP executive committee, frankly, kind of played one of the lead roles in selecting the Pac-12 commissioner. So no one understands college athletics from the presidential seat more than our president does. Second, Pat and I obviously have an experience of working together at Ohio State. When he was selected as the AD at Florida Atlantic, I believe the youngest AD in the FBS at the time, we got the job here, the first Asian American, and probably still one of the top 5 or 10 youngest in the country. And so he has never been in a position where he hasn't exceeded expectations. So if you're productive, if you're coachable, if you're driven, there's no one who's going to put a ceiling on for you. So our two biggest things is we want to have a very supportive and inclusive group of fundraisers. And two, we're going to be really hyper diligent related to the details. There's a science and art to what we do. And I think a lot of folks can romanticize the art side of it, right? But frankly, it's really tough to quantify that. Mm-hmm. In addition, the art side, in order for it to be most successful, you have to have the science down. And so we are really focused on the details that make an event, that make a game, that make an interaction successful. So those are the two things that we really focus on.
Fantastic. And final question, tell me a little bit about the state of Washington. Why would someone want to move out west?
Yeah, so we always joke that the folks that are attracted to Pullman want the best of all worlds, meaning they want to be able to compete at the highest level. They want to compete for national championships, which membership in the Pac-12 conference obviously provides. Two, though, they want to be really family oriented. So if they want to go home and participate in their kids' t-ball practice, or in the event of our particular situation, swim practice, soccer practice, whatever the heck it is, you're 5 minutes from campus. You can come back and continue to achieve whatever the heck you were doing at work at the highest level. So my only two complaints about Pullman: one, I cannot finish a full song on my commute. And two, the grocery store situation requires sometimes a drive to Moscow in order to get every product you need. But other than that, it's the perfect inclusive atmosphere. So we really love Pullman. And I think if you're interested in this position, you will too.
I love that. I mean, grocery struggles aside, it sounds like an ideal place to be, especially for a young, inspiring development officer. So thank you so much, Mitch, and go Cougars.
Go Cougs. Thanks, Steph.